fitness industry was, based around the male audience, right? Like it was more targeted toward males. And then as time progressed, then yeah, you saw a little bit more now, especially today, is really pressed up on females.
I also feel that women shouldn't work out like men because their bodies are completely different.
If you look at a lot of scientific studies, men, we know, naturally have more testosterone, right? Women don't have nearly as much testosterone. Conditioning the muscle, because even just having lighter weights, but females in general have this genre where they're like, well, this stereotype where they think, oh yeah, I'm gonna lift like you were just mentioning, and I'm gonna feel bulky and heavy. And it's not true. My female clients especially is never going to a Men can get away a little bit more with that.
High protein and a low carb diet. I've tried that. I've done it for a long time, but it makes you feel like shit.
Yes. Yeah, no filter for sure. It really does, because then your body needs energy, right? And the thing is, a lot of people have to realize when you change your diet, especially if you're increasing your protein, sometimes increasing the protein, you're going to feel like, especially the males will think, oh, if I do too much cardio, I'm losing muscle. And, especially if they're looking for size and build. Actually, that's myth, right? So you have to add.
Specifically when it comes to cortisol and inflammation, what are the other things that can raise the cortisol in women? And
oh boy, yes. So we know that stress raises cortisol. My clients, okay, how are you feeling now? How do you feel that you started this workout routine and you're changing your diet? If something's not right or something's, not kind of, coming to a point where you're seeing results, then it can go deeper. So obviously you have to start.
Today, I have a pleasure of talking to someone extremely special, who's a mother of two, a physique athlete, a leader who so many people look up to in her space. Today, we are going to talk about the raw truths, how especially women should work out, not follow the bro science that on the internet, and break the myths that are related to inflammation, caffeine, and how to manage it all together, even when your hormones are out of balance. So let's get to the point, and thank you so much for being with us, Sharon.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be
so
here.
Excited.
Me too.
So I'm going to cut straight to the point.
Yes.
How do you do all this? How do you manage everything?
Okay, well, it's because it's a passion of mine, of course. I've been in the industry for like over 15 years now, almost 16 years in the industry, a long time, because even when I was in my studies at school, I always had a fitness connection part-time. And that's when I grew such a love for fitness, and seeing how much you can learn in the industry and how many routes you can take. If you find something is not for you, there's always other things you can get into, whether it's, sports specific, helping people with weight loss, even nutrition, and so many things, right? So that really excited me. And to manage all of it, because I shouldn't say I'm always easygoing, but most of the time I am. So I try to plan ahead, of course, right? Just like when you're goal setting, seeing what my hours are going to be, because I did start part-time with a company, with a gym. And then I also had my side business I wanted to grow. So it was managing both that was challenging. And then after I started getting more experience, the more I had these experiences working with a gym, working on my own. So they were both work in different ways, right? And of course, a lot of entrepreneurs can, relate. But I fell in love with both. So I was like, okay, let's see what I could do. Maybe I could do it all, right? Because when you're young in the business too, I'm like, yeah, let's do it all. Let's find out how both industries can benefit me, right? And this is before I started my family and had my children. So things were different. I was working, typical, like a trainer, 9 to 12, there was off hours, and then back in the evening, working till like 9, 10 o'clock.
Grind, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it was great. But then I met so many great people in the industry too, who have helped me along the way, who I've learned a lot from, other people's in my profession, and other people in my profession. And yeah, it's just, I love it. So I try to manage according to how I want my lifestyle to be. So then after when I decided, okay, I'm going to start a family, I met my husband and all that, right? Then the kids came into the picture. Things did change. I wanted to do a lot of things before I started a family. So one of them was entering a fitness competition. That's when I got into bikini fitness and learned a lot about that too. That was a great experience. And then also helping clients want to do the same thing, want to enter a fitness show, or just even get to that physique for like a photo shoot or for a lifetime goal, or just to get healthier, right? So really, really good learning curve. And then once I've had my children, a lot of those things were done. I was kind of like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to do more of a part-time hour business. And then as my children get older, maybe get back into doing my more entrepreneur side of it. So yeah, then that would help me manage my time a little bit. So
that's an incredible journey. Yes.
Yes, it's a lot.
So since you mentioned learning and where you started like 15 years back, do you think the amount of data that was available on the internet when it came to working out, did you find it useful? Because at least when I search on Google, everything revolves around men.
Oh my goodness.
Men's fitness, men's this, intermittent fasting, everything dedicated to men. But if you want to look for information that is catering to women, there's hardly any. So did you find out information by trial and experiment? And did you try something that was available on the internet and it didn't work out? What was your experience?
So it's so true, because even, the fitness industry was, based around the male audience, right? Like it was more targeted toward males. And then as time progressed, then yeah, you saw a little bit more. Now, especially today, is really pressed up on females, and especially if they're in a different age category, specifically the older, I would say more mature, not even older, but mature age groups are looking into getting into fitness and strength training and all that. So now I find there is actually more out on the internet. Before, I can relate with you, it was a little bit harder to find information. Now more is coming out. So there are more studies, more happening, right? There's more up-to-date information, which is fantastic. So I think now it's opening up a little bit more, right, towards finding the information. So I have found things myself, like even with experiencing on how to do macronutrients for weight loss or for muscle building for both males and females, right? So that was really good. So things that are a little more specific from individual to individual to attain or achieve their goals. So I found the internet very helpful, actually. There might be a few things that people kind of, judge and to see if, okay, how true is that? So yeah, I would recommend you doing your research and going a little more into it.
Before
right?
actually trying anything on the internet.
Yeah, and of course, consulting with your doctor, your naturopath, right? Or your dietitian, depending on what route you want to take, right? So that's what be my outtake on it. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to working out, there was a myth that women shouldn't work out because if they do, they're going to build muscle, which is not true. And it's been proven.
Bulking, right? So they think they're going to be bulky. Yes.
And on the contrary, I also feel that women shouldn't work out like men because their bodies are completely different.
Yeah.
So, according to you, what kind of workout should a woman be doing if she has to gain muscle? What's the women's workout?
Well, women's workout, because believe it or not, if you look at a lot of scientific studies, men, we know, naturally have more testosterone, right? Women don't have nearly as much testosterone. So in order to build that testosterone is we have to do weight training. We have to do strength training. And it's not all about going into the gym and lifting heavy. Obviously, you have to start with lighter weights, conditioning the muscle, because even just having lighter weights, but increasing your time under tension, we call it, can still strengthen the muscles and the bones.
What is time under tension?
So time under tension, great question, because a lot of people, let's say if you're doing home workouts, even in the gym, for instance, I teach fitness classes, right, in the studios, and we time our intervals instead of counting reps.
Really?
So yeah, so we're saying, okay, let's do one muscle group for we're gonna pick squats, for instance, and we're gonna do it to this one track or this song. We're gonna stay in a squat position for 1 to 2 minutes.
That burns.
So that burns, right? Yeah. So again, increasing your time under tension with resistance. And again, it doesn't have to be as heavy if you're going to be doing obviously longer repetitions, right? Is all about maintaining the form and the function of it. And that's where diet comes into place with it as well. So if your diet is not the greatest, yeah, you're not going to see the results that you want, right? So nutrition, how you fuel your body is going to help a lot. Because a lot of people think, females in general have this genre where they're like, well, this stereotype where they think, oh yeah, I'm going to lift like you were just mentioning, and I'm going to feel bulky and heavy. And it's not true. It's more about setting yourself up with a good fitness routine and obviously eating healthy along with it, right? It's got to go with nutrition. A lot of people say it's like 80% nutrition and then the rest is working out. It could be a balance between both, right? Really, it's about eating healthy, staying fit, right? And feeling good, not just only looking good, right? So, but yeah, the time under tension thing is a great way for women to train if they're not looking to lift very heavy and they feel like they're going to bulk, or maybe some women feel naturally they build more upper body than they do lower body. So genetics plays a small part, but also in how you eat, how you train can definitely alter the way you look in a positive way, right? If you do it right. So, yeah.
What I'm taking away from this is that women should definitely lift weight, and especially as they grow, as they age, in order to retain the amount of muscle that they have, because they have lower testosterone compared to men.
Yes, and then the testosterone that's the the metabolism boosting source that we need, because then you are going to burn fat more efficiently, right? Even at rest, your muscle does the work when you're resting, when you're not doing anything, right? We all go back to science, like a pound of muscle takes less space, but it burns like, 20 to 30 calories a day or whatever it is. And then a fat only burns like 2 calories a day, and it's like double the space it's taking. So, pound for a pound makes a huge difference.
It does. I saw a photo of 1 pound of muscle versus 1 pound of fat.
Oh, yes.
Muscle is this much.
Oh, yes.
And 1 pound of fat is like this. I was like, wow.
Right? It's like a stick of butter to like a little ball of meat, it's crazy. So that's a great question, because it's really important for women and men, but women mainly too, to be knowledgeable about lifting before they get into it. And it doesn't mean they have to just go to the free weight area. Like, there are workouts that have really revamped, like Pilates, mat Pilates versus former Pilates. So reformer will teach them a lot better form, really teach the muscles how to target if they're not firing up. So there's many ways that you can include resistance training, even though it's not, lifting heavy weights. So again, the time under tension, right? You're on a reformer, a Pilates reformer, and you're using that time under tension. You're using the bands, the resistance of your stance, right? So that's something I would really recommend to women that are just afraid to jump into the weights. They can maybe try something like that first.
So,
right?
I believe that resistance training can also be done at home. So time under tension is a kind of a workout that they don't need to specifically go to hit the gym, but that can be incorporated at home as well, which is beautiful, because nowadays where everybody is hustling and bustling, they do not have time to hit the gym always. And that's where resistance bands come in handy.
Oh, big time, right? Resistant bands, stability balls, BOSU balls, so even adding the stability for the core.
I tried that in one of your classes. I was like, oh wow, that's
stability class. Yeah, I know, that's a tough one. Yes, but anything that involves stability and coordination, right? It challenges everybody, even the top athletes. So it's nice to get all levels of fitness in those type of workouts, because it improves everybody, right? So.
And one thing I realized in one of the classes, so just to give everybody an overview, I was in one of a class which was called Extreme HIIT. And it was all about like sprinting, then jogging, then stability.
The hits.
Yes, yeah. And some core exercises. And I've been working out for 15 years, but it's mostly around weightlifting. And when I tried her class, I was exhausted in 45. I could not continue.
Oh, yes.
That was intense.
Oh, because it's full body. Anything that involves core as well, right? Because that's the most challenging. And I find the stronger your core is, the more you're going to be able to lift, even if it's your own body weight. Your form is going to be better, everything. So and again, the stronger your core is, the more you burn at rest. So just like having that lean mass up and that body fat dropping down, right? So that's the whole thing that we want to focus on, right?
So engaging the core during every exercise.
Oh, yes.
Even that requires certain amount of mind-muscle connection, I've realized.
Mind and muscle
It's not just doing the abs that's going to build those blocks and tighten the core. But even while doing a general exercise, you breathe in, you strengthen it, you focus on it. That kind of builds that.
Exactly.
It gives you.
Yes.
I've also realized the entire power comes from your core.
Oh, big time, big time. Because if it's not the primary muscle you're working, it's always a secondary, really, right? So, and it's engaging, right? Those pelvic floor muscles. There's about like, I'm not going to name them all, but 9 muscles in the core that we tend to target. And that's, it's quite a bit. And it's also including the pelvic area, right? And your back. So a lot of core muscles that we engage, right?
Oh, okay. So now continuing on the workout itself, we mentioned that time under tension is a major aspect to build muscle. But is the number of days that you're working out an important factor too? Because you tend to hit the gym like, I had a belief that you have to go like 7 days a week to build muscle. And whenever you take a rest day, you do feel guilty about it.
Oh, 100%.
How do you deal with that aspect? How many times a week should a woman work out for optimal health?
Well, I would say, you know, because it really depends from individual to individual. Our lifestyles can get very hectic, right? So for some people, 7 days a week is not realistic at all. And that's okay, right? We don't have to be doing that. I mean, exercise and health and fitness, once you start reaping the benefits, it gets addicting. So I could see how people want to go more, and that's fantastic. But some lifestyles don't allow it, and I get it. And it doesn't have to be a workout in the gym. It could be something active that you do outdoors, right? It could be even cleaning the house, active recovery, cleaning the house. I'm going to vacuum the whole house today.
Which is what I did today morning.
Burns, yeah, oh, absolutely. But we want to be dedicating ourselves a few days a week, even if it's 2 days a week to start, then 3 days. I always recommend my clients to start with 2 to 3 days a week, okay? Even if they're starting with just 2 days, sometimes I do give them homework exercises to do at home, just for strengthening and bettering the posture. Because sometimes when the workouts are too spaced, like you were saying, you find like your stamina kind of goes down, and then also you could get really sore for a few days, and then your workouts are so spaced out that you can't adapt to the exercises enough. So that could be something that we need to work on. So starting with twice a week and then eventually increasing to 3 days a week is just fine. And then there's some people who want to do, like you said, 4, 5, 6, even 7 days a week. So we know requiring yourself with some days to stretch, recover, maybe do segmented workouts where you're doing more of a bodybuilding style. So it really depends on your goals and your lifestyle, yeah, but you can always make it work, right? If you can't work every single muscle group, like I can't work legs one day, chest, back, this way. If that's too much, then yeah, you can compound your exercises, right?
Okay, what's compound?
Compounded would be involving more muscle groups with one exercise. So instead of doing just a squat, which targets lower body, core too, we're gonna do a deadlift, right? Okay. So a deadlift is a compound exercise because it's going to use more muscle groups. It's almost like, it's almost full body if you think about it, right? From your feet to your head, top of your head, because you're using your lower body, your core, your upper body, your back, right? So anything that involves compound exercises. Kettlebell is another one that we recommend as a full body fast workout. So if you want to hit every muscle, right? And quickly and effectively, kettlebell is a really good workout.
That for glutes once, they were burning.
Oh, big time, right? Yeah, because there's a lot of hip and lower, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't remember the name of the exercise, but you take a kettlebell, you swing it, and then you get it down while stabilizing your core.
Kettlebell swing, yeah. Oh, yeah, kettlebell swing. But there's 2 types of swings. There's the Roman, which goes up to shoulder, and then there's a full swing, which they call the American swing. So there's different types, right? But yeah, such a fun, great workout. If done correctly, effectively, that's why you need a coach for sure. And yeah, I just love that workout. Like, I love teaching kettlebells.
Okay, yes. So compound exercises are a way to go and a good way to start if you don't want to focus on isometric.
Yeah, isometrics, yeah. Definitely another good one though. Isometrics is involved in all those type of training as well. Holding the exercise, engaging, yes. Many ways that you can change up your workout to make it fun too, right? And to challenge the body so it doesn't plateau and you don't feel like you're not, getting any more results, right? Okay. Moving to the next step. Oh yeah, my kids are in the background here, right? That's it, right? Like sometimes bringing your kids even to a podcast, right? It's the way I go, mama on the go. Super mamas, we gotta be super mamas.
So we have her on the podcast and her kids too.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Okay. So if you were to design a weekly workout for somebody, just from an overall perspective, not into the details, like what kind of workout would it be?
Weekly workout, if I were going to design one for one of my clients.
Yes.
Female, male, doesn't matter, just I can focus on the female. So if, again, right, they're dedicating, they have to pretty much sit down with me and tell me what their goals are. So if it's weight loss, great. If it's weight loss, also comes with feeling better, right? And also adjusting the lifestyle, building better habits. So then we go through their schedule, we dedicate a few hours a week to start. And that's how we start, right? And even I will give them tips on what to start with, but you never want to set yourself up for failure. So if you take on too much, and that's our problem today, I think we just, even being a mom especially, we take on too much, and sometimes we take on too much too soon. And then we get overwhelmed, and then what happens? Crash, right? So I always tell moms, especially, don't beat yourself up about it if you have especially a newborn baby or young ones at home. You're working today, you're taking care of the family, your kids. It's a lot. So dedicating an hour or two on your most down part of the day is where we want to start. And sometimes, energy levels can be up and down. So I always recommend my clients, especially females, fueling before and after a workout.
That's such an important aspect.
Very big, because now there's this thing where, okay, I'm going into the workout fasted, or I haven't eaten anything in hours. You're gonna have a low energy level. You might not be able to last as long in the workout. And also there's a fear of, which can definitely happen, is you're breaking down muscle instead of fat. Yeah. So we need the body to supply with nutrients, right? So that's what I always tell my female clients especially, is never go into a workout fasted. Men can get away a little bit more with fasted workouts because of, again, the testosterone level, right? So they can get away with that. But for females, always something, even if it's something light, an hour and a half prior to. And then post-workout, of course, everybody needs to fuel, right? As soon as they can. It doesn't have to be right after. I know there's a big thing where it's like you have to
have like 40 grams of protein post-workout.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I always recommend having a little bit of protein, higher carb before a workout, low fat.
And what would that look like?
I would say like someone can have even a Greek yogurt,
okay,
right, with some berries. Right? Even a little bit of granola, whatever, right? Because you want to make sure that it's supplying you some energy. If you're having a light meal, you just want to make sure you have a few hours to digest it. So if it has a little bit heavier, you don't want to be going into the workout, right? So that too, but always a little bit lower in fat prior to the workout too, because the fats take the longest to digest. Post-workout, high protein, high carb, good fats, right?
And what does high carb look like?
High carb would be, you're getting your fruits or your vegetables. It depends if you're having a smoothie or if you're having a meal. You would add the carbohydrates in, like, even if it's rice, chicken, vegetables in there. So you have all your major food groups, right? So it's a little bit higher in the carb content, right, than having a low carb. And even if you're a little bit with your starches and more with your vegetables, that's fine too. Those count as carbohydrates as well, right? It's getting in your fiber in there as well. So we're gonna.
Does this diet also work if somebody is losing weight? Because there is also a myth that if you have to lose weight, you have to be on a high protein and a low carb diet. I've tried that. I've done it for a long time, but it makes you feel like shit.
Yes. Yeah, no filter for sure. It really does, because then your body needs energy, right? And the thing is, a lot of people have to realize when you change your diet, especially if you're increasing your protein, sometimes increasing the protein, you're going to feel so full and bloated and you're like, I can't eat anymore. Your body has to adapt. So you have to wait till your body adapts. And so that's why the beginning is always a little more challenging. And, increase your protein by 30 grams a week. You're increasing 30 grams a week. So if you're eating, if you're measuring, if you're using a fitness app where it's measuring your food, your macronutrients, which is your carbs, proteins, and fats in grams, you see what you're hitting. You kind of have to take like a little food diary. That really helps. And I try to get my clients to go into a habit that way. And if they don't have time to track, then we just sit down and kind of go over, okay, what are you mainly eating throughout the week? What's your typical day, right? So we try to make minor adjustments, because when it's weight loss, you have to have a bit of a deficit, right? That's the only way you're going to lose weight, if you have a deficit.
And what is a deficit?
So if your calories in versus out, so if your body burns, let's say, I don't know, 2,500 calories at rest, let's just say that, right? Then if you want to drop weight, you have to eat and, give out energy that's going to be more than that, right? Because then you are going to create that deficit where your body's going to realize, oh, okay, we're not having as much overfueling, I would say. And then your body's going to respond, and then you're going to drop weight. Your body's going to adjust to that. So even putting on a pound of muscle is a huge improvement, because you know that you're going to be burning more calories at rest. For some people, it means, oh, I can eat more. But then others who want to, kind of contradict that, they want to maybe drop a bit in the calorie deficit. Protein, we always want to be high. That's why when we calculate the macronutrients, you require a certain amount of protein, carbs, and fats in a day. If you go beyond those numbers, you'll gain weight. If you go a little bit below, you drop weight, right? So that's why we tend to manipulate the numbers a little bit. Really depends from individual to individual. That's why coaching is important, because when I was in fitness competition, my coach really taught me on what to watch and what to look for. Low fats.
Low fats?
Yeah, I was doing a low fat, but everybody's prep is different, because some people, like you said, they do low carb, high fat, high protein.
That's keto, I guess, right?
That's more keto.
I've done keto, yeah.
Yes.
My cholesterol shot up.
Oh, see, so not for everybody is good, because keto was meant for different reasons in the past, right? For medical reasons. But also going low fat, high carb, high protein was really beneficial for a lot of people in fitness competitions in general, because they're lifting more weights, so they need the energy, they need the burn. And the fats is the easiest macronutrient to go up.
It's in everything. It's in
everything. What is it? A tablespoon of olive oil is like, how many, 20 grams of fat or something? It's high. And how much oil do you use when you're cooking? Sometimes you don't measure.
Yeah. And especially with all the processed foods that you eat.
Processed foods, all the additives.
Fats, carbs, protein. Like now, if you look at the label, there are stuff I don't even recognize. Oh, yes. I sometimes have to chat GPT, and I'm like, what?
Whole other ball game now. Is the processed foods, the additives, that will affect the system as well, yes, and prevent effective weight loss, because it feels like you're putting all these chemicals in your body, and your body's like, what do I do with it, right? Like, what is this, right? It's not going to function properly. So yeah, I always tell my clients, go as clean as you can and stick to the outer layers of the grocery store. Don't go in between those aisles.
Walmart and Costco.
Yeah, right? Oh yeah, Costco too. I mean, you have to be smart, yeah, but you have to definitely read the ingredients a bit. I know you might be going a little crazy with checking the ingredients, but that's why I say, just stick to whole foods as much as you can, because your body's going to crave those nutrients, right?
So even when it comes to whole foods, are fruits okay? Because fruits contain sugar. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, so that's another great question, because my clients ask me that all the time too. And it's true, you do have to measure everything, because if you look at a mango, mango is a very high sugar fruit, but it has a lot of benefits to it. So instead of having a whole mango, you would chop it up, maybe freeze it, and maybe put a few portion of that in your smoothie or in your bowl or whatever you're doing, because it does add up, absolutely. So I would say portioning your fruit is definitely a good thing. Yeah, even just using measuring cups, like having a half cup of fruit or berries, or even if you are have a medical limitation, like even if you're diabetic or anything like that, have well-balanced meals where you're not, topping up the fruit like crazy. You're probably going to have more of a smaller portion, or maybe stick with the lower glycemic fruit, where it's berries, right? Cantaloupe, things like that, where it's less in sugar. And then the higher sugar fruits, if they're your favorite, yeah, they have nutrients in them. I always recommend just doing a smaller portion, right? And freezing them, because you don't want to waste fruit, of course. Then you're like, what do I do with the rest of it? Well, if your family doesn't eat it, then freeze it. Use it for smoothies. Pack it up, right?
You can still have it when you're on a weight loss.
Oh, you can. Yeah. Honestly, I really love the flexible dieting approach, I call it, because you're getting nutrients from all types of food. But for some people, it's easier to stick to the same thing every day.
I love that.
Right? Yeah. Because then, and that's fine. You can have your staple foods, right? You can have your staple foods. My little ones again running around in the background. So that's the thing, right? So just honestly, portion control, yes, is a big thing. But then your body's going to adapt to what you're giving it. right? Once you start giving it this instead of this, you're gonna start getting used to this, right? Again, breaking bad habits, making better habits. Right?
Okay. So one was the workout aspect. Then we covered as to you have to maintain a deficit in order to lose fat, and you also have to look at the nutrient label and stay away from the processed food. And a portion control is also a very good aspect of it.
Absolutely.
So that covers the entire strength training part and the weight loss part. What about the cardio? Does cardio play a role in fat loss? And what kind of cardio leads to an optimal amount of fat loss? Because I always tend to switch up between low intensity and a high intensity. But unknowingly, last summer, when I was walking around 15 to 20,000 steps a day, that was the time I lost fat and reached like below two-digit body fat. So, but what's your...
Cardio does play an aspect, yes, and a lot of people think, especially the males, will think, oh, if I do too much cardio, I'm losing muscle, and especially if they're looking for size and build. Actually, that's myth, right? So you have to add the cardio, absolutely, and the cardio is not only good for the weight loss part of it, but also for your cardiovascular health, right? So we do need that, and it doesn't mean you have to do intense cardio. So like you said, even if it's in the lower fat burning zones, you will hit your higher fat burning, you'll hit your higher zones. That's more of your glucose burn, your carb, sugar burn in the higher heart rate zones. You do that with HIIT, right? You can do that with high intensity training, 30 seconds a HIIT workout where you're adding the recoveries, right?
So what is a HIIT workout?
So a HIIT workout, so high intensity training. So it's like you're working a ratio kind of like 1-to-1, or sometimes it doesn't have to be an even amount of work to rest. So let's say if I'm doing a sprint for 30 seconds on the treadmill, and then I'm walking for 30 seconds, and then I repeat. That's a little more high intensity, we know. So we're not gonna do that type of training every day. It's too much on the body. It's probably not good. So I always recommend, if you're gonna do HIIT training, no more than 2 to 3 times a week, because it's intense on the body, right? So, and also if you're working too intensely and you're too much in the high heart rate zones, that can also store fat. So yeah, you have to be careful with that. So that's why it's good to work in all heart rate zones.
So you mentioned that if you do too much of high intensity, you can also store fat.
Yeah, cortisol, right? Because it's like a stress on the body, maybe too much. So that can happen too, depending on one individual to the next. And that's something to, again, talk about with your, what I talk about with my client or with my doctor. If I need to be burning more fat, then I have to be in my lower heart rate zones, right? Typically, that's where we tend to burn more fat. So
what's a relative low?
Oh, I would say, heart rate? Yeah. Well, it depends from one individual to another, but when you're working out, we always coach people, even at the club, okay, this feels easy, this feels moderate, so that's a lower heart rate zone. Okay. Then we start to get into, like, let's say from a zone 1 to a zone 2, moderate. Zone 3 is your first hardworking heart rate zone. So we're not gonna go too high, because then we start to hit the anaerobic threshold. That's where we start to burn more carbs, more sugars, which we also do in weight training, right? But it's not a bad thing to work in, but if your main goal is fat loss, stay more in the zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. So that means more moderate pace, maybe longer time. So if you go for an hour walk, right? If you go for a light jog, but staying in the lower heart rate zone, so not going too intense.
So, and that's going to burn more fat?
More fat, yes, instead of the higher heart rate zones. So because you're going to hit those higher heart rate zones eventually, but you want to spend more time in the fat burning zone. So I always recommend too. Another one is doing cardio post to working out. Now there's a lot of contradictory on this, because there's also studies that say, oh no, you can do it before, right? Because when you're lifting weights, the main thing you're using is glucose, right? Sugar, carb burning. And then after you do that, your body stores the glycogen, and then all that's left to burn is fat as fuel. So if you hop on the cardio after that, or you go for a walk, then that's going to help your fat burn. And it doesn't have to be intense cardio. Like I was saying, like everybody always think they have to, yeah, absolutely. So even a slow stair climber, elliptical, or walk, totally fine, yeah.
That's what I was thinking. This wouldn't work if you are working out fasted.
No.
Yes, because when you're working out fasted, so like for example, I work out fasted every morning. I take a cup of coffee and I hit the gym.
And then that's your pre-workout. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes,
So
yeah.
if I'm lifting weights, am I still burning fat or is it raising my cortisol?
Well, that you'd have to look in. Like, there's studies done on both where the caffeine can raise the cortisol level, and then there's doctors that say, oh, you can have 4 or 5 cups a day. It's good for you. So it's really hard to say. You have to see what works with you. So you have to experiment a little bit. How do you feel when you're working out? How's your result at the end of the week, right? How's your energy levels? So really just kind of basing it. That's why, again, you have to, because when I used to go see my naturopath, I used to have to do a little diary. It's a lot of work. It's like researching for yourself. So again, if that feels like it's a lot to write down, then just kind of just be aware, on how you're feeling pre and post workout. Again, because you're a male, the testosterone is higher, so the fasted workouts will work for you. But for a female, I don't recommend it. I don't, because then they're going to be losing muscle. And if they're eating enough protein for the day, I mean, that can kind of be a catch-22. That can help them so that they don't continue breaking down muscle, right? So that's something that we want to make sure they're getting is enough of the right foods. Yeah.
Should women consume coffee?
You know what? I have to have my 1 cup a day. I love it. So I'm not against coffee. I know some people say also what you put in your coffee can affect the way your body burns it. But I think, I know there was one doctor I was following on a podcast also, and she was mentioning how it could be a lot for your brain when you're having coffee right away in the morning. So they say not to have coffee within like 1 hour.
1.5 hours of waking up.
Half hour, right? Half hour of wakening. So I kind of agree with that because, it is a lot. Sometimes you have coffee and you're just still waking up. You don't even know what's going on.
You feel like a zombie, yeah.
I don't wake up like this in the morning, like Superwoman, yeah. So I just need that to kind of, it's a nice little routine I have. And of course, hydrating after that, because it is a bit of a diuretic. So, drinking water too, being hydrated for a workout is important. So just keeping an eye on that.
Wow, there's so much. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's so much. Because even my coach was saying to me when I was in peak week for competing for Bikini, let's say, trying to be in the tip-top shape of your life, she's like, yeah, cut out the caffeine for the last week or two. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be tough. But it's because it can bloat you a little bit, right?
Like caffeine can bloat you?
Can, if you have too much. Okay. So if it's a little bit, even it's like say an espresso, it's a little portion, so it might not affect you as much. But if you have a lot, it can bloat you because, again, like I said, it's a diuretic, right? Okay. So again, portioning. What we were talking about portioning.
Sometimes you can't carry on with your day without having that coffee because it's become such an essential part of your day.
100%. Like, it's definitely something, it's just, again, you're creating a routine for yourself, right? What makes you feel good, right? You know your body. As you experiment with it, you tend to learn more about your body, and that's what's super important. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So you mentioned coffee has a tendency to raise cortisol, and every individual is different. So it's not the ideal thing to have coffee first thing in the morning, especially for women. Even in men, it can raise the cortisol, but not to that extent. They can still work out, right? But my next question is, women tend to show a lot of inflammation in their bodies because they have a 28-day cycle and they also have different hormones compared to men.
Yeah, even the estrogen levels. Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So specifically when it comes to cortisol and inflammation, what are the other things that can raise the cortisol in women? And especially if they are tackling with inflammation, what can they do to overcome that?
Oh boy, yes. So we know that stress raises cortisol levels, right? So, and these days, who's not stressed, right? If you're an adult, you're stressed. Even teenagers. So the thing is, it's coping with that stress, right? Stress can elevate a lot of even health conditions, right? So the cortisol is one, and then that can result to having more, medical issues with your body. So that's why we do recommend exercise. But like we were even chatting off camera about how, if you are experiencing a lot of inflammation, you want to look into it a little further before you start, an exercise routine, a new exercise routine or a new diet. So even getting blood work before, even during your diet changes to see how your levels are, right? You could be lacking something. So if you are low in iron, and especially if a woman's going through her menstrual cycle, sometimes iron levels can really drop. And then that can cause a lot of fatigue and irritability. So those things can all have a cause for that cortisol level to go up, because then the stress hormone, like we say, right, can really rise. And coping with that is good. So sometimes even just doing a bit of meditation, yoga. If yoga is not your thing, if you're not a type of person that doesn't get into meditation, then go for a walk. Nature is the best remedy, right?
Yeah,
I find getting in touch with your nature, right? And if it's dead winter, yeah, sometimes you got to bundle up and maybe even just go for a car ride, you know, through those nice trails in the country. Something that's, you know, easier for you. Even just going to the spa, doing some, you know, light, more, you know, relaxing kind of strategies, coping strategies. Even for some people, it could be just having an outlet, going to read a book, giving yourself a timeout. I think adults can have a timeout too, just like kids, right?
They do deserve it, yeah.
They do, yeah, because too much, it can create, you know, some pretty bad things to happen. So that's definitely important. I always recommend my clients getting blood work done before, even during, starting anything new in their lifestyle, right? Especially if they're experiencing, like you say, inflammation, bloating, irritability, fatigue, and then if they have very heavy menstrual cycles, anything like that that's affecting even a woman's, you know, menstrual cycle is huge. So you have to really get to the bottom of that stuff and go see your doctor, even naturopath, you know, anyone that is professional to help and to find out, yeah, levels of even, like I was saying, the iron level, right, is huge. So, and how you're absorbing these nutrients that you're eating. Maybe your B12 can be low, or, you know, anything like that. So we have to really check even your alkaline levels. A lot of things can be affected in the body, right? Even by taking a supplement, sometimes it can ruin those levels.
Really?
I was taking, yeah, like just an example, like a woman who's breastfeeding, pregnant, or wants to get pregnant, is taking a prenatal vitamin. Sometimes it can affect your blood work a bit. Believe it or not, I think I took my blood work and my B12 was too high. Can you believe that? Yeah, I don't know if it was from the folic acid. Like, I don't know. It might have been something from my prenatal supplement, but I had to stop taking it. I had to stop anything that had B12 in it.
So this was raising your cortisol?
Yeah, my B12 was up. No, not the cortisol, but B12. But it can have an effect on the cortisol, right? I'm sure anything that stresses the body can have effect on cortisol.
Who can imagine B12 can do something to your body, because it's known as the very essential vitamin?
Absolutely. And anything in your body that's too low, even too high, is no good. So you have to have levels that are, because your body can be telling you something. Like even if it's something in the kidneys or the liver, it can raise your levels of certain vitamins, right? And the doctors will look for signs like that, like, okay, your B12 is up, so this could mean this, or this, right? So that's why I always recommend getting blood work.
So what's the first sign that you'll say that somebody needs blood work? Is it a sign that has to show in a body, or if the person looks fine from the outside, is it a possibility that something is still not correct from inside?
Definitely.
Have you come across any such situation?
Yeah, you know what? It's even with myself, or with actually another client I had. She was not seeing the results she wanted, and she had a physical, and she did blood work.
Yeah.
And then she told me that some of her numbers were off, even though she was feeling fine. So sometimes you don't know, like it could be just, you know, something that's kind of silent in you right now, and it might not come out till later. Or maybe that's why she's not losing weight, because that's why it's affecting her system. She's not getting this nutrient in. So this nutrient can support this nutrient, and so on. So if one level is kind of up and one level's down, then they're not allowing each other to level out. So just like they say, when you have too low sodium in your system, you're not able to absorb water, right? So you have to have a little more sodium in your diet. Sometimes your diet can be too low in sodium, right? So something like that, where you have to find out the cause, right, to the problem, and then the solution after, right? So yeah, elaborating. But there's so much to it, right? Like that's why I always ask my clients, okay, how are you feeling now? How do you feel that you started this workout routine and you're changing your diet? If something's not right, or if something's, you know, not kind of coming to a point where you're seeing results, then it can go deeper. So like you said, if it's inflammation, if it's stress levels, all that. So keeping up with your routines with the doc, right? Physicals, right? Getting your physicals, getting your blood work. I mean, you don't have to be living in the doctor's office, but every so often.
Please get the baseline blood work checked up so that everything's fine.
Exactly.
Because even when I was competing, I would get my blood test done to see where my test levels are, and that is important.
100%. Yeah. Especially if you start taking a supplement, right? That's another thing. Supplements.
That's an extremely good topic I want to talk to you about.
Yes.
The industry is known for taking supplements. I have taken fat burners to burn fat. Back in those days when I was competing, I have creatinine is extremely popular these days. Oh, yes. And you have people scoop up on protein powders. Are they any good, or do they harm your body?
Great question, because I know a little bit about supplements, but of course there's a lot more professionals in the industry that know a lot about them. And there's studies done on supplements, right? Scientific studies. And creatine is actually the most studied one. So they were starting to find out some really beneficial things to creatine. And yeah, it can have its side effects. Like you can have too much creatine too, right? Or it can affect I believe your kidneys or even any of your organs, right? So anything you ingest has to be done with a certain dosage. So that's, again, you have to talk to your naturopath or a professional to help you with that, unless you're, very knowledgeable about it. The creatine is also known to help women, and now this study has come out where women in their 40s and past 40s and premenopausal or menopausal, taking creatine can be a huge benefit for them to help with the fat burn, the muscle building, and increasing again that testosterone that we're losing, and promoting the muscle growth, right? Which we need, because that's good for our bones, for our health, especially as we go into perimenopausal. Once that starts, we start losing, right, density in our bones, all the nutrients. So it's they have studies proven that creatine can help. So again, dosage, right? That's very important too. You don't want to have too much, or you don't want to have maybe too little, because then you won't be feeling a difference. So you really have to look into that part. Protein powders.
That's a famous one, yes.
Famous one, right? I used to love my protein powders, especially, like I said, when I started competing. I used to make protein pancakes, this, that. But then I started noticing, because it wasn't a vegan protein I was taking, I did get, and it wasn't isolate. So, but I was still getting a little bit of bloating if I had too much.
I noted that too, especially with all the famous companies which are out there. I'm not going to name them, but like the red and black packaging and stuff, the moment you have 2 scoops, you do feel different.
Yes, because there is, of course, higher grades, better grades of protein, and lower grades. A lot of people were telling me, New Zealand whey all the way. And that's actually what I was taking. I did feel better when I took the New Zealand whey. Yeah, very good whey, very good protein. But I wouldn't rely on that protein source. Your body needs a real protein source. So it's hard to get that much. If you need like 200, 300 grams of protein a day, it's a lot, right? So I could see why people go to protein powders and things like that. But there's so many ways you can get that much protein in.
But how much do we actually need to maintain or build muscle?
Oh, well, that's different, right? You're talking about in grams of protein, right? So it's usually a gram per pound of weight, right? Of body weight to maintain. But like if you want to gain muscle, it has to be like 1.2 or 1.3 or 1.5 grams of protein per pound body weight. So that's really where you have to, talk with your coach and see what your goals are. But if you maintain, like I know a lot of women, it's even hard just to get 100 grams of protein in a day. But I always recommend women should get at least 100 grams of protein a day, right? Imagine 100 pounds. No way. But so if you do that, even if you just do the minimum, at least you can maintain your muscles, stay healthy, right? Be realistic. When you want to see different results, especially some women want to see more aesthetic results, right? Like seeing more from the outside, starting to get more definition. Yeah, you got to lift more, but you also got to eat more. So you got to train your body to work and eat more. So, and that's, a lifestyle change. Just like how, I want a 6-pack. Abs are made in the kitchen, right? So it's a lifestyle, right? And what I said is sometimes it's not all about just looking good. It's about feeling good. So I'm glad that we're covering all these topics.
Yes, I know so many people who can look good on the outside, but from inside, they don't feel so good, because being in the best shape of your life, has to make you feel good. But if you're always pushing yourself at the gym, it takes a toll on your body.
It does. And like, what is your goal? Like, is longevity your goal? Because it's not always about looking the best. I know. I mean, you're going to look good, but you want to feel good too. You talk about those people who live to 100 or 125. Like, what's your secret, right? And it's everything in moderation, right? And they're not into the processed stuff. And yeah, they might have a soda pop here and there, but it's not like they're living on that. You know what I mean? So I always tell people to really watch all the preservatives, the processed foods, right? Processed foods we know cause cancer. So anything that's cancer causing, we kind of want to eliminate.
And inflammation. I don't know about cancer, but inflammation. Even there was this phase when I was in the college and I would eat a lot from the outside, even though the packet was like healthy kebab. But until I shifted to just pure chicken breast, I didn't realize the amount of inflammation it was causing to me.
See, so until you notice the change, because you won't know unless you try. It's true. Sometimes you're living a certain way, you almost build tolerance to your lifestyle. Then you change and you're like, wow, what was I missing out on, right?
That's so true. I mean, just a packet of a chicken and good nutrients doesn't make it healthy. This is what I've realized. It has to be unprocessed. It has to be like a real food, like raw chicken that you're cooking at home yourself. And that's not packeted.
Yes.
I always avoid packeted food.
Yeah,
and stuff that's tinned or, something that has expiration date.
Oh, 100%. Because you don't know how fresh it is. And we always promote people to, support your local farmers markets, or see where your source of meat and fruit and produce is coming from. Because you can't always trust the grocery store.
That's true, because I feel even the chicken these days is all injected.
Oh, that's another thing, right? So you have to see.
$20 you can get 2 kgs.
Oh, I know. And even when it comes down to eggs, when they say enriched with omega, they're all like free range. I'm like, all eggs, all chickens are free range. But it just means that they're not in a cage. Doesn't mean they're running around they could have a space like this.
It's just a small patch of land where they run,
Unless you're going to someone who has a chicken coop in like my in-laws, God bless them. Yeah, they have a chicken coop. They live in the country. I know they're free range. I know what they're eating.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you ever want eggs, let me know. Right? So it is what it is. But yeah, there's a lot of ways of the food being contaminated. It's true. And have you noticed a lot of things that you see in the news, like things being recalled because of too much food handling and not proper care there. Like it could be something that wasn't, that took too long to get somewhere, or even temperature control, or something happened in the factory. So really finding...
All for a fresh food, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I remember seeing this news a few weeks back, and it was like the carrots have been recalled. I'm like, I eat carrots almost every day.
So you're like, what? What am I going to do? Even the lettuce was a big one too. And it's also importing, right? That can happen, like things coming from the US or across seas. You have to really be careful, yeah. So finding out where your food source is coming from in your local grocery store, it's important. Going to butchers is good too. Becoming like, get to know your butcher. Talk with them, because it's the way it is, right? And you see it too around the world. How their production of food is. Like some people travel to Europe or certain exotic islands where things are more natural, right? I mean, there could be risks of bacteria, certain things like that in the culture, but as long as it's food handling is good, less additives, fresher food. There's an ocean nearby. That fish is probably going to be a lot more fresh, right?
Yeah. And even the amount of chemicals that we are throwing into the ocean these days, it's all affecting us.
Oh, big
even
time.
Water, it was what? The water has fluoride in it.
Oh, the fluoride, the amounts of fluoride.
Yeah, that causes hair fall and other...
Oh my goodness, that's stuff will
blocks so many hormones in the body.
I know. So that's another thing, is just limiting your exposure to certain things make a huge difference. And that's why the health and fitness industry is great because, we're going there to cleanse and to detoxify. Some people do, like how we were talking about, I don't think we mentioned it yet, was the intermittent fasting. And yes, and people just fasting, right? Fasting can be good, even temporary fasting.
What's temporary fasting?
Temporary fasting could be just, I'm fasting for today, so I'm going to be having no meals till a certain part of the day, or I'm going to be just hydrating, eliminating foods, right? So there could be a lot of. She wants to be on camera. Victoria, say hi. That one. This is what keeps me going. Right? Yes. Oh yeah, they're a blessing. And this is why we need to keep, no, Victoria, go on the other side, honey. No. And come on, you're going to get hurt here. So we're talking. And that's another thing, is keeping the energy, right, for your children. So you're able to keep up with them because their energy never runs out.
No,
right?
actually, they have been here for like 1.5 hours and they are so active.
Oh, and they won't run out of energy. No, not until they hit that pillow.
Do you think your workout regime or routine or your outlook towards life has changed after having kids?
Oh, big time. I used to be a lot more disciplined, I would say, with the weight training regimen. Like I was really OCD with it. Like I have to get this set done, this. Now it's not that I'm not like that. I've dedicated myself to keeping healthy, fit, and also having a balance. You know what I mean? Not just living in the gym, but I'm making my way in the gym. Making my way in the gym and then making time for these guys. So, yeah.
Mommy, smell it.
Okay, now it's time to go on that side, please. Or no ice cream for you. Watch your head. I know. Okay, I got it. You go on that side. Thank you. Yes.
Do they work out with you? Or have the set foot in the gym?
Believe it or not, when I was pregnant with Victoria, my first, I worked out through my whole pregnancy with both because my body was already used to it. I looked into that. I got my pre- and postnatal certification so that I know. And then when I had her, I was getting into more home workouts, virtual workouts. So it would become a little bit more, doable for me. More convenient. I won't skip my workout. I'm going to get it done anytime, anywhere. And it was great because then she would see me working out even when I had her as a baby. She would see me working out there in her little chair. And then she would kind of hop in when she was getting older. She would be doing burpees with me. And it's great because you lead by example, right? So if they see their mom and dad doing that, they'll want to do the same, And they have a very high energy level, so they're definitely gonna want to jump in there with you and do some burpees, jumping jacks, push-ups, and it's good for them too, right? Yeah, you start earlier. The earlier
Saying?
So sorry, what was that? No, what was he saying? Oh, how do you put it louder? The devices these days. That's another thing we gotta put a limit on for the kids today.
How many hours do they get to see the devices every day?
How many?
How many hours do they see the devices every day?
Oh, jeez. Angelo, we try to keep him away from it because he's still young. So the kids, I don't give them more than anywhere between half hour to an hour in a day.
That's good enough.
It's good because when we grew up without the devices, outside, we were outside playing till the lights came on, when the street lights came on. And it's like, that's how kids need to be, is active, imaginative play. I mean, getting in with the times is fantastic because then they are exposed to more. So the new generation is smarter because they're exposed such an early age to so much information, right?
They're smarter, but that gets me to another question.
Oh, yes, there's pros and cons.
Always on the phone. This generation is also unhealthier compared to the previous generation.
Thank you, yes. So, and that is why you need to put a limit on their device accessibility because then, unhealthy habits will start. And I found too, even with us adults, we're on the devices and, even when we're looking through the shorts or the reels and information, we're just constantly on it. And I find even their attention span gets shorter.
Shorter and shorter.
Yeah, so that's the con to it, right? Because too much of anything, right? Everything has to have control, especially new technology. Everything has to come with control, especially the AI today, right? Like there's new AI. Yeah, there's AI coaching now, everything, right? So like everything has to have a control on it because they're taking away from, human contact, right?
But I think that personal touch is still important, as
Huge.
AI can replace
Personal contact.
things to some extent, but wherever you need personal touch, it's not going to replace humans at all. Like especially the trainers and everybody, you need that touch. You need that personal touch, people guiding you.
Thank you. Yes, yes. It's not meant to replace. If anything, it's just meant as an extra tool. Or maybe for some, if they can't get any of that, at least they have one thing for the time being. Yeah. But it's very true. It shouldn't be replacing that personal contact because it's huge. Because even when I started in the industry, like even though people needed help with their health and fitness, they also wanted a friend. They wanted a friend to guide them.
Somebody to push them, somebody to motivate them.
Exactly. It's almost like you're disciplining yourself, right? Like, yeah, absolutely. Well, I agree there.
Do you feel that the way our lifestyle has become, the food choices that we have, the amount of times we are just sitting and not leaving the house, right? The way it has impacted our health, because the obesity has gone up, the diseases have gone up, and the number of cases of PCOS have also gone up. So what are some ways you think, good ways to mitigate that if somebody is going through all those?
Going through all that. Well, a lot of it has to do with, mental health, right? So to cope with that, that's why I always loved the fitness industry, because I always tell people and my clients, in particular, to pick up healthier habits and something that's going to distract you from the real world at times, you know what I mean? So it's like if you're stressed about something or you're going through something, you need to detach yourself from that at some point, because there's going to be a point where you're like, can't do it anymore, right? So, and it's not always, you don't always want to relate to drugs, right? So it's and medications, all that. And we all know that medications can help as well, but there's always side effects. So you have to be ready for that, right? Fitness, it can promote you whether you're on medication or not, right? So of course you have to enter with caution, especially on medication. That's why, again, result to your doctor. But picking up a nice routine where you're gonna exercise half an hour every day, right? That's a good goal. Like that's a good stepping stool, because you don't want to be saying, oh, I'm gonna work out like 2 hours every day in the gym. You can't do that all the time, right? You're gonna have your ups and downs too. And you're gonna have your highs and lows. Yeah. So, and I always tell people, if you fall off the wagon, it's never too late to get back on. So, it's again talking to your doctors if you need to, or someone in the health profession to help you. There's even health coaches that can help, right? Even online, in person, like we just talked to you about, whatever's more convenient for the person. And find information of that, even on the web, find information. What can help you? Because there's a lot of, that's the thing, even though the obesity rate, a lot of things are rising on the negative side, on the positive side, there's a lot more help out there as well. So looking for that too.
That is certainly true. It's kind of contradictory, right?
Yes, times work with the times, right? Like if more bad comes, more good is going to come.
More good is coming. Yeah.
We have to be positive on that outlook too, because there's a lot going on. And when there's a lot going on, especially in the world, like, everyone's going through a shift. The world goes through a shift. And we have to stay positive, like that's why even though negative things are coming, there is positive too. So that we get that balance.
Have you personally been through something that has taught you to be more disciplined towards your own fitness, and something that taught you that, thank God, fitness was in my life because this saved me?
Oh, 100%. So many things, right? Like it could be, something that happens in your life, or even financially, as life shifts, or as you progress in life, there's ups and downs, absolutely. Luckily, knock on wood, I haven't had any major health causes, but there has been in my family or in my in-law side. So that kind of is like an alert to always stay on top of certain things, right? Because you're like, like we were I think I mentioned once about the cancer thing when we were talking about nutrition, right? And fitness and health helps cope with that and helps keep cancer away, whether it's internally or externally, whatever it is. It's like we need to keep it away. So it's definitely helped me. Oh yeah, even mentally, because I've always been a high energy person.
Yeah, I can say that. Yes.
Oh yeah. And then like everybody's like, oh my gosh, she's always happy. Not always happy, but like it's just I have an outlet. Like when I'm in the fitness industry, it just makes me happy because it's my happy place. Like I have my fit family and my loving family, and it's just such a positive environment, because we're all there to better ourselves, right? So definitely did help me along the way.
No, I'm glad. After a certain time, fitness becomes such an important aspect of your life.
Yes.
That if you don't do it, your day feels kind of empty, and no matter what, you do try to take out time to incorporate that in your life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It releases endorphins, right? Yeah, so that's huge.
And it boosts confidence.
Boosts confidence, especially for the females. Well, even the males, right? When we're going through body changes, and definitely, right? It's going to create more confidence. Becoming stronger is something you want to do. It's not like, oh, I want to look like this, or I want to lose this much weight. It's about being healthier, stronger. Feeling stronger is huge, because that's going to help your mental cycle, right? Yeah, so even a lot of today, we hear about depression a lot, even too young of age, And again, it's because of the devices too. We've heard that
isolation as well.
Isolation. Yes. So get out there. Gyms can be very social. That's actually one of the things that promote longevity in life is community. So, you go to your gym, you see regulars there, you see friends, you make friends. It's a great...
And they uplift you too.
Yes. Even partaking in new things now that are huge, like pickleball. Pickleball has become really big today. And even if pickleball is not your sport, if you want to try it, it's great. It's created such community. It's a great sport, great way to keep fit. And it's fun, yeah. You're going to definitely make some friends when you're playing pickleball. Or some enemies. No, I'm just kidding.
If you're really competitive.
Yeah, if you're very competitive, yeah, just like any sport, tennis, squash, right? Even cycling, right? You can get involved in a community. It really helps. Yeah, definitely.
Lately, we have lost touch to that community, but if you do take an effort to kind of go and find your tribe,
yes,
it will help you in an extremely positive way.
Yes.
I'm not talking about the people who are there with you for false reasons, who are there with you for namesake, but true, genuine people who uplift you. They will make sure that you find the right direction in life.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
And since you mentioned community and hitting the gym, that got me to my next question. So sometimes people are at that stage in life where they have gone to the extreme already. And those are the times where they become overwhelmed. They think that, where do I start? And just thinking about the fact that they have to take that step and be fit, it's overwhelming, and they get confused, and they don't feel like taking the first step because it seems so big, right? So imagine you walk into that gym, everybody's fit, and you just think to yourself, how did I get over here? And then you have 100 questions in your head. That makes you feel bad about yourself.
Oh, yes. It's overwhelming, right? It's almost like setting yourself with too big of a goal. Like I was saying, you have to set up yourself to not take on too much too soon, And it's okay, because that's why you do find someone who can answer your questions a little bit. Like if you go to a local gym and you talk to a fitness consultant there, or the management there, or they can direct you to the right person in the right department to help you, right? And I see a lot of people doing that, because they even come to people like me. They're like, okay, what classes do you think I should start with? Like I have these issues, or I have these limitations, and I want to be here. And it's like, okay, yeah, step back a minute, because I know they want to be like here tomorrow. I'm over exaggerating, but you know what I mean? Like they just want to get to that next step too soon, and it's not about that. It's a journey. It's the journey to that result that you want is what counts.
People make that as a destination.
Exactly.
Fitness is never a destination. I thought that it's a destination. And 100%. That myth was broken, because every time I would get six-pack, I would again go back to eating, and I would have two. And this cycle goes on. It's not like you achieve it and then you just relax.
That's what I mean. No, it's because it's not healthy. No. And then that can also, in males too, but females especially, the hormone levels. It can affect the hormone levels and the thyroid. It can affect your thyroid. So if you're always up and down like a yo-yo dieter, right? The thyroid's going to be being consistent is the best thing you can do. Even if it's not, right up here, excellent. If you're like in between, it's better being here than here, right? Than at the bottom. But it doesn't mean you have to be excellent. It's like, again, like I said, it's the journey. It's learning more about yourself. And sometimes you might think what's ideal is not ideal for you, right? So it's experimenting. Because I've known a lot of people, even in as we keep going to the, elite fitness competitions or anything. That doesn't have to be all about aesthetics. It can be something like a weightlifting competition, right? Like maybe not looking so aesthetic, but becoming the strongest, right? So there's certain things. Those all also discipline you to work harder, like even joining a marathon or something, right? You're going to train harder. You know that you have something you have to work towards. Stuff like that is good. It's healthy, but I wouldn't, compete with anyone but yourself. So
that's so true.
Right? You versus you. So you come in one time doing a marathon, maybe the next time you didn't do as good as your last. You don't beat yourself about it because, you accomplished too. And again, the journey, right? How was that journey? And enjoy the journey.
We all have to understand that it's a human body. It's extremely complex.
Absolutely.
It's one day it's behaving like something else and the other day it's going to behave like something, which is what people fail to understand. They expect results in the fitness industry to be very linear, which is not the case. Weight loss is never linear. Muscle gain is never linear. Strength gain is never linear. Like some days I'll lift a PR. Other days I can barely lift because I need recovery. If I hit the gym every day and I haven't taken recovery, I can't hit my max again.
Yeah, athletes are like that. The top athletes are like that. Even in the Olympics, even in sports, right? Like you'll see some players where they're at their high, they're booming, they're gold. And then there's times where you see them fall a little bit and that's not easy for them, right? So even though they have access to all the right things, right? They have the most access. You don't know what's going on behind scenes sometimes and they're human too, right?
You can't beat nature,
Oh, you can't beat nature. Yes, exactly. I love that. Yeah, no, it's so true. But again, it's the journey. You know what I mean? So you gotta live life.
And you have to enjoy it.
Absolutely. You have to enjoy it. Yes. Like find out what's your passion. Find out what you love. Like even myself, I was always thinking, okay, there's people in my industry that love the martial arts, the boxing, right? That's their thing. Myself, I love coaching. I love teaching. I love my BOSU stability classes, right? I love that. Love the balance. That one's so great. And then there's like people who love Pilates, people who love yoga, right? So you have to find what your passion is. And, like I said, like even yoga should be great for everyone, but it's not for everybody. Maybe some people might like to do stretching in a different way. Maybe yoga's, for some people, yoga's too slow. I'm like, trust me, it's great. It's a great way of coping. But there is types of yoga that push you and that aren't slow. So I always tell people, like, remember, there's yoga that's also yoga flow, where you're...
One is vinyasa.
Vinyasa, yeah, exactly. So it's you have to find your passion, right? You have to find what you like. Yeah.
Yes, that is true. And especially like the fitness center that we go to, I remember initially when I joined, there was, I think 3 different type of yoga classes. I was like, I haven't heard of these. What's the difference between them all? And I ended up going to the vinyasa one.
Yes.
And they were doing the poses that I couldn't even follow. It's like, it's in a flow.
Oh, big time, right? But then it's nice that the instructor coaches you towards what you feel, right? So it's not like you don't have to be lost. Do what you feel. Even though you forget the sequence, because I've been there. I love taking one of my coworkers' yoga class and she's laughing because I'm like, what comes after this? She comes over, she's like helping me. I'm like, yes, okay. But it's nice, and then you're building community with the ones around you. Hi, honey. Hello. My toddler. These ones will keep you busy.
What's your name?
Hi, Angelo.
What's your name?
My name? My name's Rahul.
Rahul. Say hi, Rahul. Okay, guys, you have to go on that side.
How many minutes?
Yeah.
Ask you, if there was one thing you could give away to everybody who's listening, what would it be? Just one takeaway that you think can change lives.
That's a tough one. Well, you know what? If, like I said, like we discussed before, find something that gives you a passion. Find out what you love to do and find how it can make you better. Whether it's fitness, health, whatever you're into. Because then once you find that thing and it makes you confident, you will do whatever it takes to get there. So that's what I would say, because once you find that passion, you're going to do whatever it takes to make you better to get there. So find something that
And
drives you.
yours, fitness for sure. I can see that.
For sure.
Yeah. No, even the way you talk about it, it's showing, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yes. It definitely gives me a passion. And I think becoming a parent too, I've become a little sucky. I cry about everything now. I'm like, oh my God, like happy tears, but yes.
It's beautiful. It's
great. Thank you for having me on this podcast because I love, sharing my passion and my knowledge for what I've experienced, right? I'm sure there's a lot of others that can speak even more depth to what we talked about too, right? Certain categories. So if maybe we spiked some interest in it and they're going to look more into it, right?
No.
So even doing that.
I feel every conversation teaches you something. Oh. And the knowledge that you have shared today, it's something I also wanted to know, because when I started to give advice to my partner, I realized that the stuff I do is not helping her. And that's when I started to research how women's body reacts to the same workouts that men do. And there's a drastic difference. I used to think that, okay, they could lift heavy in order to build muscle, but that's not the case. In her case, it was leading to inflammation. The days when she is about to have her periods, she feels low on energy. But with men, I can wake up with the same exact energy every morning and I could hit the gym. And I wanted to go deep down into it. And you have shared some good insights into all the questions I had.
Good. I'm glad I'll be able to help you there, because it's true. Sometimes we can go into something thinking, yeah, this is the right way. And then we're like, what's happening? Nothing's working the way it should be. And it's disappointing, right? It's frustrating. So I'm glad I can help.
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
Yes. Great.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Wow.